What's going on, guys? Teddy Baldassarre from teddybaldassarre.com. Today we're going to look at a watch I've kind of long awaited to be able to cover. Heard rumblings about it a few months back. It's finally here with the Formex Essence 39mm. My small wrist is going to be very happy to cover this one. Have it on right now. Wears perfectly. So this is a watch that just became available. We'll have details about how to get it, pre-order on our website. So in this video, we're gonna take a closer look at this watch and then also go over both the positive and negative things to consider at the end of this video. But guys, let's take a closer look at this piece. Now first, looking at a rundown of the specs, measuring with my calipers, we have a 39mm case, lug width of 20mm, case height of 10mm, lug to lug of 45.5mm, water resistance of 100 meters. Movement is an automatic Sellita SW200. This one is cost certified as well. Crystal is sapphire on both sides, and price $1,280 on a strap and then $1,390 on a bracelet. But if you do use promo code Essence39 at checkout, you put the strap option in your cart, put in that promo code, you'll get the bracelet, which is $287 for free for the first 100 orders of this watch. And then for the next 100 orders, you also, if you add the strap version to your cart, put that promo in, you get the bracelet at a discounted rate of only paying $1,390. So you get the strap and the bracelet for both of that. So that's a nice added value there as well. And pre-orders would be shipping in February 2020. And teddybaldassarre.com is a full authorized dealer of Formex watches, so this is a exclusive promo code for our store. Now, one of the most talked about independent brands, say in the last couple of years, to me is Formex. It's a brand with roots back to 1999, being based in Biel, Switzerland, where they produce their watches and have developed a reputation for some of the best finished products for their price range with cost-certified movements within. In my review of the Formex Essence previously, there were two common points of criticism despite the very well-finished product at the end of the day. One was the logo, which looked a little bit outdated for my personal taste. I know for many other people as well. I think other people were probably harder on that than I was. Then in addition though, the big thing for me was the size. At 43mm with that case, despite wearing smaller than that, still stretched to the limit, making it harder for me to pull off with a smaller wrist. But a couple months ago, we saw the release of the latest Reef, their diver, with a new logo, which is a great improvement in my opinion compared to the previous version. And there was also subtle hints dropped that there was a new Formex Essence that potentially was coming in a smaller package. And with the arrival of this piece, a lot of those rumblings are finally put to rest. And we also got two answers for the common points of criticism: updated logo and a smaller case size, which I think makes this one even more enticing in the marketplace. So as I mentioned, the 43mm Essence wore pretty well, but did stretch the distance on my smaller wrist. It was, I think, enough to probably not allow me to feel as confident and maybe recommending it for smaller wrists out there. But with this 39mm version, it has a set dimensions that are very close to, I would say, my ideal type of sports watch without a rotating bezel. With a measured case size of 39mm, slim build at only 10mm in thickness, and an impressive compact when measuring with my calipers 45.5mm lug to lug. When you consider the larger Essence was at 43mm and then dealing with the actual length, the lug to lug distance, 50mm, you start to see that there's a real significant drop in terms of the overall size compared to that version. Because this follows the same case architecture in terms of that 43mm case, you are going to get the same type of effect wearing slightly smaller than what that case size might indicate. So this is going to wear closer to a 38mm option when all things are considered. At 10mm thick, a fact aided by the flat shape of the case back, the Essence 39 slides easily underneath a shirt or jacket cuff and is generally unobtrusive on the wrist. That 45mm lug to lug dimension is going to certainly be really true here, considering how this bracelet meets the case. It's going to curve down nicely towards the wrist and wear very true in that regard. Now, speaking of the bracelet, have to take a second to appreciate this one, which I think might be the best available for any watch in this price range for around $1,200-$1,300. While mostly brushed and featuring a 3-link construction, the Formex Essence bracelet edges are carefully polished with phenomenal articulation and a brush underside for optimal comfort. In addition, you're also getting an impressive milled push button butterfly clasp with its patented micro adjustment feature that will provide a few millimeters of micro adjustment on the fly in case of the wrist swelling on maybe a hot day, for example. But for sizing, the links are screwed in and will come with a plethora of them in order to size precisely. And given the size of the links, they are quite small compared to, say, typical bracelets that you might find out there. So these are more in line with like half link size, so you can really get a fine adjustment to have this wearing perfectly. And hopefully these macro shots will do it justice, but as this bracelet just moves underneath the light, I think you really come to appreciate the overall just execution of the finish on this thing. The polished edges, the great just movement of the links as they wrap around the wrist. This thing just looks amazing for the price. But if you are more the leather strap type, the 39mm Essence also comes with a leather strap with a carbon fiber deployant clasp, integrating the brand's tech forward type of approach with their micro adjustment and things of that sort, which would be included for free with those first 100 orders, again with the bracelet. And thankfully, swapping between the bracelet and the strap, although I would probably keep it on the bracelet as much as I possibly could because I just love the way that this thing wears. Swapping between without tools is easy with the quick release function on the back of the bracelet and the straps. Now, the Essence overall has a very distinct case design. It's modern and certainly industrial with its overall feel, while still managing to be pretty refined. This industrial and distinct look, I think, is certainly coming from those 4 screws, which are visible from the front of the watch. Certainly some inspiration here I can see from high horology sports watches out there, but distant enough to not classify this in any regard as a homage, certainly. More than just looks, though, the screws are also a part of the signature suspended case construction used in this Essence. Essentially, the central part of the case can float just a bit inside the outer part when you apply pressure to the back of the case. This in theory is going to help with protection against shock, but perhaps the most useful of this feature is actually allowing you as a user to bend your wrists a bit more freely and the watch actually moving with its case architecture in line with your wrist. So it really helps with aiding the wearing experience here. The case back is set flat against the back of the watch, affixed with screws as opposed to the more common screw down construction you usually see. If you're not noticing a theme here yet, Formex likes to do things a bit differently. Now, the lug architecture is angular and interesting even from a distance, a look that contrasts nicely with the round bezel and screws. For the most part, the shape of the case is exactly the same as the 43mm version. It's just scaled down proportionally to match the size. The case finishing here is about as good as you're going to find for the price, with carefully executed brushing on most of the case surfaces and a polished outer bezel edge. The mixing of polishing and brush surfaces work very well together in capturing the light as the watch moves, especially in that bracelet as mentioned earlier. Keeping the front-facing surface of the Essence free from scratches is a flat sapphire crystal, which provides a clear view of the dial elements and texture within. So apart from the new size case as well as that new logo, you also are getting a new dial, with a green dial variant now becoming available, which looks incredibly sharp. It's more of a bluish green, not a true very dark green. You'll kind of get to see how it plays with the light quite a bit. And there's a bit of a small reflective surface type, which is going to be constant across all of the different dial surfaces. Horizontal lines are going to be featured across all of these different variants, kind of following the Omega Aquaterra Teakwood style finish. Each one of those horizontal lines, though, are CNC machined individually into the dial plate. The dial features applied polished stainless steel stick shape indices filled with lume, and actually more BGW9 Superluminova than actually the 43mm version. So that was an area where Formex wanted to improve. Another one of the biggest changes, again, with the smaller variant is the new logo, which now is applied rather than printed on the dial. And I was just kind of questioning how this would transition. It looked good on the Reef. How would it look on the Essence? I personally think it actually looks better on the Essence than even the Reef. So I think this is major points for Formex and just at least being receptive to some of the criticism of the brand and what was going on in their watches, and being able to make a big change, which is a new logo for their watches, and changing their overall production strategy around that. So, props to them for at least being conscious of what people were saying. And this adoption of the logo has now even shifted into the bracelet, which you'll actually find signed on the bottom side of the bracelet clasp. At the 6 o'clock, we do have a carved out date window, which is nicely executed and provides a nice symmetrical feel. The high level of finish that has been sustained so far, you can also feel with the dial as well, as this model is certainly not going to shy away from being underneath the macro lens and generally gives even more appreciation the closer you look at it. Now, flipping this watch over, we do have a sapphire case back providing view of the reliable Sellita SW200 within. This is a top grade version that is also cost certified as well. Now, one of the number one selling points in terms of the Essence to me was just the peace of mind that came with knowing that these were cost certified movements inside here. Now, there is a strenuous process when going the route of cost certified movements. You again are getting a elevated grade with the movement overall, but these also are going through all those tests affiliated with becoming a cost certified movement, which Formex is paying more money to get certified. And you as a consumer get that peace of mind that comes with getting a cost certified movement. And because it is getting fine-tuned and regulated before sending off that way, and you're also going to get some great performance with this one running inside just 1 second off a day from perfect timekeeping. From the looks department, you're getting a little bit of decoration as well, getting some nice machine perlage across the movement overall, getting a nice skeletonized rotor with the Formex logo on top, and a nice array of blue screws as well. This movement's going to be operating at 4 Hertz, 28,800 vibrations per hour, features hacking and hand winding, hacking stopping the second hand when you pull out the crown to the farthest position, and then also has a 42-hour power reserve, and again, cost certified movement with great accuracy. All right, so now that we've taken a closer look at this Formex Essence, time to unpack things to consider if you are looking in the direction of getting this watch. Now, maybe starting with the one thing to consider if you are looking in this direction, I always try to advise people that are going in the route of, say, an independent or say a micro brand or a watch brand that's just maybe not as well known, is just consider the value of brand equity. Does that mean something to you? Do you want something that is different than what most people are going to have on their wrist, or do you rather just have something that has maybe more brand equity, and say you were looking to maybe sell it down the road, there would just be more buyers in the marketplace for that watch? That said, on the flip side, if you are just looking for a well-constructed watch, maybe one of the best in its class, and you're kind of just looking at the specs, I don't know if that's necessarily the best thing to be looking at in terms of a watch, because you want it to wear well on your wrist, you want to feel excited about the design, but I think you have those things here too. But from a value for money perspective, if you're just going down the list, Swiss-made watch, well finished in terms of the case profile, the dial design, also with the bracelet, perhaps the best I have seen for around $1,200 to $1,300. I've mentioned some other brands in the past that have good bracelets, the Mantas of the world, which are going even higher up market. I think the Atlas that I reviewed is now at around $1,800, give or take. You're getting some proprietary types of construction with the case suspension system, as well as the micro adjustment system in the Clasp. On the flip side, you're also getting a top grade cost certified movement that is going to be running like a top and also has elevated decoration. And then finally, you're getting that updated logo, which was a main gripe for many people out there that were looking at this watch. And then also a more wearable case size at 43 millimeters, dropping it down to 39 millimeters with its case size. That's going to get, I think, a lot of people over the edge in terms of maybe really considering this watch more than maybe they would at that previous option that was available. But overall, I think with the new dial options, all of these things considered, and just looking at what's in the marketplace with more brands just continuing to go up market, you have independent guys like a Formex coming in and just looking at on the surface, taking outside the brand and just looking at the watch as a whole and what it's providing in terms of a finishing point of view with its features. This is a very well done piece. All right, guys, if you enjoyed the video, thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell icon. If you're interested in this Formex Essence as well as other watches on the site, definitely go just check it out. Have over 25 brands, full factory warranty for every brand that we carry. Love to show you what going authorized is all about. But guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I'll see you all very soon.